My wife epitomizes the true spirit of femininity. She possesses a remarkable talent for throwing together a salad, stirring up a commotion, and transforming leftover scraps into a stylish hat. Even the iconic Coco Chanel would have admired her creativity, had she not been too busy basking in the admiration of someone like me. Adeline's one-of-a-kind blend of humor and elegance always kept her a notch above everyone else in any gathering. She became the focal point wherever she went, effortlessly attracting a diverse crowd, from friends to colleagues and even the partners of her acquaintances. In social settings, Adeline ruled the scene, deftly walking the tightrope between playful banter and unapologetic boldness. She wielded her charms with a skillful touch, consistently achieving her aims. Was I jealous? Not in the least. I took immense pride in having such a vibrant, extraordinary woman by my side, a name that was as distinctive as her character, Adeline. When we first crossed paths, she was an expert at an insurance firm. After 6 years of stellar performance and guiding the expansion of the interregional network, she ascended to the role of head of the regional sales department. Alida, as I affectionately call her, excels in everything she pursues. Our home sparkles on content, and her career flourishes. So, when a quarterly accounting meeting was set along with a corporate gala, Adeline couldn't decline the invitation. Although she preferred unwinding at home, the allure of her sales manager role was too tempting to resist. She had a particular segment on her agenda and was charged with tackling a few challenges in a relaxed environment. Moreover, the guest list included everyone from the company owner to the CEO and field agents. Even from a distance, I could sense the significance of this occasion. Just a week ago, when she requested a ride, we had no inkling that this momentous day would arrive so swiftly. I even set out early to escort my wife to the elegant hotel and restaurant complex on the outskirts of town. As she mentioned, that was where her band was hosting their party. This venue caters to all sorts of events, a conference room for meetings, a restaurant for fine dining, and cozy hotel rooms for those needing an overnight stay. In short, a prominent insurance company showcased its top-tier sellers with style. Adeline, as always, radiated like a star. Her ash-blonde hair was fashioned into a sophisticated updo, enhancing her allure. The sleek, body-hugging black dress beautifully highlighted her curves. She completed her look with delicate stockings featuring broad lace trim and fashionable stiletto heels, while her understated makeup and a hint of her favorite Dior fragrance enveloped her in an irresistible charm. I escorted her to the event, where the grounds were adorned with balloon displays in corporate colors. Promotional brochures danced down from the suspended banners. Soft melodies floated through the courtyard, and waiters glided silently by, offering guests a variety of aperitifs. My beloved wife leaned in and playfully kissed the tip of my nose, teasingly suggesting I might as well head home for the night. She assured me that without her, the festivities would likely taper off by midnight, and I could easily catch a taxi back. However, as the clock struck 12, my own Cinderella was still nowhere to be found. Not even an hour had passed, nor two, when my phone erupted with the unmistakable sounds of celebration, and flashes of fireworks lit up the night sky, echoing in my mind. I soon realized that there was little to gain from my enchanting partner this evening. Exhausted and drained, all I yearned for was to sink into a deep slumber. Those thoughts swiftly carried me into the realm of dreams, rendering me completely unconscious. When the clock struck 3:45 in the early morning, I stirred awake. The world outside my window was draped in the muted grays typical of a summer dawn. My sleepy wife was wrestling with her portion of the fluffy terry sheets, so I gently pulled the covers up around her. What I encountered next stretched the boundaries of both office propriety and our married life, plunging into a realm that even basic conversation standards could hardly accommodate. There lay my wife beside me, while a purse, a phone, and a pair of stiletto heels were strewn haphazardly across the floor next to our bed. One of her stockings dangled carelessly down to her knee, while the other was tightly grasped in her hand. Though she was still dressed, Her once elegant hairstyle had transformed into a chaotic mess, clearly a casualty of the night's wild festivities. Yet the most striking detail was that beneath the audaciously high hem of her dress, there was no hint of underwear to be found. Now, don't get me wrong. I get that the delicate lace trim of a thong isn't always prominently displayed on a woman's curves, but I'd never heard of it completely vanishing in such scenarios. So, like a bloodhound on the scent of a familiar trail, I began to track down any clues, hoping to uncover the elusive detail of her missing underwear. Unfortunately, my search throughout the apartment yielded no results. Aside from a sparkling certificate celebrating her remarkable accomplishments at work, nothing surfaced in her name. By the time I finally managed to fully wake up, I had chain-smoked through a pack and a half of cigarettes and gulped down half a can of coffee. My mind raced with all sorts of wild scenarios, each leading to one grim conclusion: my unfaithful wife, Adeline, at the center of it all. Eager for some sort of explanation, I confronted her directly. But all I received was a muddled ramble about having a headache and being unable to remember a thing. Honestly, that didn't do much to calm my frayed nerves. After downing a strong cup of coffee, my wife began to grasp the sheer horror of the situation. What made it even more troubling for her was that the formal part of the event, the final award ceremony, the grand feast kickoff, and the solo dance number announced by the MC, were all seared into her memory. She vividly recalled winning the sack race contest, dashing across the finish line first, and claiming a lollipop as her prize. Perhaps that's when her underwear decided to make a break for it. But instead of returning home with my underwear and towel, I found myself empty-handed. Jealousy and rage surged through my thoughts as doubts about my stunning wife crept in for the very first time. I insisted that Adeline reach out to her colleague. She explained the events of the previous day on speakerphone. My wife was mortified, yet I had cornered her into revealing the truth. "Hello, Grace," his wife whispered with excitement. "You've got to be kidding me. Have you wiped your memory clean? Do you remember when I dragged you into my car, drove you home, and tossed you onto the floor?" For a brief moment, relief washed over me. Grace mentioned that Adeline had been on edge throughout the evening, worried that all her team members would submit their reports correctly. When she received the award, it seemed like her breath had hitched in her throat. Overall, she hardly touched her meal, only sipping the champagne. But as soon as the formalities gave way to a more laid-back vibe, her demeanor shifted. After sampling some Sambuca, Adeline found herself clinging to the bar and indulging in generous sips of the delightful drink. That's when the head of the sales department began to vent about the cruel twists of fate life had dealt him. She reminisced about the stray mutt she affectionately planned to name Boss and ensured it was well fed. At the office, he greeted her bright and early, taking on the unofficial role of the day's security. A cocktail? No way. Setting up a sturdy kennel for him by the parking lot was an absolute no-go from management. The dog had to go. Their budget simply didn't allow for four-legged residents. That's where she lost her train of thought. The dance-offs and talent shows wrapped up, yet, predictably, the crowd craved more than just the usual. They longed for some real thrill. The contests themselves were a blend of singing and chatter. That's when Adeline chimed in. "Hey, I've got an idea. How about you all bid on some pieces from my wardrobe at an auction? The proceeds will go toward building a shelter for some loyal furry friends." She swayed rhythmically to the music, gracefully shedding her cherished accessory and tossing it into the eager crowd. The audience, spurred on, began shouting out bids, creating a lively uproar. Meanwhile, a friend gathered up the winnings in the trunk and drove them away. As for the outcome of the competition, it remains a mystery. However, a coworker recorded the event, which I later watched on my phone with my wife. Literally a minute after her story, my God, what a disaster. She might as well have thrown in the towel right then and there. What a fool. It's me and the whole office rolled into one. Teammates, juniors, seniors, my wife lamented, clutching her head in despair. I found it incredibly amusing and inspiring, affirming that my wife was not unfaithful, but rather championing a noble cause, even if it cost her dearly in my eyes. I can't imagine going back to work after this weekend, looking anyone in the eye, or just writing a resignation letter on the spot. I mused aloud. Her monologue was interrupted by the ringing of her mobile phone. The CEO's image flashed on the screen. "Adeline, surely you didn't forget anything from yesterday. Oh, this is an offer to purchase your underwear for an amount equivalent to what your colleagues contributed." My wife fell silent, utterly speechless. "You see," the director pressed on, "you walked away from the auction and broke the rules. Still, it all played out as planned. And I must tell you, the income from just 30 centimeters of lace is enough not only to secure a dog's home, but also to cover vet visits, get a pet passport, and buy enough food to last half a year. So, looks like your Monday is all set." "Just one thing," my wife chimed in with an unusual falsetto. "Please don't refer to him as the boss. The cash is waiting for you in your safe, ready to be collected from the secretary," came the beeping reply from the other end. We both fell silent. Breaking the stillness, I remarked, "Well, the objective was achieved once again." "And by any means necessary," my wife added, a hint of shyness in her tone.